Thank you for joining us today. My name is Paul TenHaken, and it is my pleasure to announce the 32nd Mayor of Sioux Falls, my dad, Paul TenHaken.
Go sit down now. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Nice job. You don't know how much drama that caused that we were doing that, so thank you for indulging us. All right. Well, welcome to the 2023 State of the City Address. Thank you again to the City Council, city employees, elected officials, community leaders, and residents of Sioux Falls who are able to join us in person and online for this year's event. Special thank you to my wife, Jill, and my 3 kids, Jade, Max, and Nora. Nora, thanks for that great intro, bud, who are here with me today. They're supporting me as I continue to lead this great city. Another year has come and gone, and it's like we're listening to a broken record player here in Sioux Falls. We could use all the same words we've been referencing the past several years as we look back at 2022. Historic, unprecedented, challenging, successful, record-breaking. But it's not a bad spot to be in as a city. In fact, I'm proud of where we're at in Sioux Falls right now. And I'm thankful this community trusts me to lead them into the next 3 years as the mayor of our great city. Thank you again for re-electing me to a second term roughly 1 year ago today. On May 12, shortly after my re-election, our team's leadership in our community was tested once again when a deadly derecho rolled through South Dakota, wreaking havoc on communities, including Sioux Falls. Wind gusts reached between 70 and 80 miles per hour in our city, challenging our community's resilience once again. Unfortunately, we lost a Sioux Falls resident that day. Multiple property owners were left with damaged homes, and our city was lined with downed trees and power lines. As we have over the past several years I've been in office, we came together as one Sioux Falls. Individuals volunteered over 400 hours to help with the debris pickup. The 211 Helpline Center answered over 800 calls, and Metro Communications processed over 700 storm-related calls in that short period of time. We help each other out. In emergencies like this, we're grateful for our partners across the state, including Governor Kristi Noem's office, who always lends a helping hand, and others who provide us resources in these situations. We overcome challenges together. We understand the importance of uniting to move our city forward. In 2022, we estimated another 6,284 people were added to Sioux Falls, and we issued a record $1.93 billion worth of building permits, setting ourselves up for another year of historic growth. The biggest permit issued was for the expansion of our wastewater treatment plant. When completed by 2025, this will be a $215 million infrastructure investment to help our city grow and develop. The coordination between our planning and development services and public works teams is invaluable to ensure we're making smart decisions now that will help keep Sioux Falls investable well into the future. This expansion will provide a 50% increase in our capacity from 21 to 30 million gallons treated per day. Our teams are planning 10, 20, 30, even 100 years ahead. The City Council will hear a second reading tomorrow night, actually, of a loan ordinance that will support a sewer infrastructure project for the west side of our city. We plan ahead in order to make the right investments at the right time. This is a team effort to make sure we're doing our part for residents and businesses to thrive, especially through public-private partnerships. As I get further into my second term, it's that time when people want to know what I will be doing after the next 3 years. So they're asking me, what do I want to accomplish by 2026? Or, Paul, What will your legacy be? I'm not a big fan of that term, legacy, actually. I don't focus on that, and by definition, it's the impact of one person. My goal is to find out what we can accomplish together. My administration's success is our community's success. It will be based on the collaboration between city employees, city leaders, community members, business owners, our governor, state representatives, and our congressional delegation. What we can accomplish together can create change, and we've seen that in the past several years. We've experienced our challenges, as have all cities, dealing with an unstable economy and the continuing global effects of a pandemic. But we've remained focused on being responsible with taxpayer dollars, setting us up to continue making investments despite the uncertainty due to these economic challenges. We'll continue to think big, like we have with the Riverline District. We've spent quite a bit of time on this project already today, but I do want to emphasize that the Riverline District wouldn't have begun and cannot continue without collaboration across multiple entities. It's examples like this that put a spotlight on the power of collaboration. This project started because of several downtown leaders who didn't want to miss out on an opportunity for a community-wide vision for this 9-acre site. And the stakeholder committee has grown to more than 40 community leaders. This opportunity we have in front of us needs to be done right because it can have a large impact on the future of this community, the neighborhood it's in, and our downtown skyline. The investments we make today will impact the future generations and for years to come. It's why I'm excited for several projects that are already coming to life. On May 19, we're making the first splash of summer with the opening of the spray park at Hayward Park on the west side of Sioux Falls. This public-private partnership between the City of Sioux Falls, Promising Futures Fund, and Leadership Sioux Falls is bringing a much-needed positive community hub to an underserved neighborhood. The $2.25 million project includes new play equipment, a walking loop, a synthetic turf dog park, and a splash pad. This will be the perfect kickoff to summer for the kids and families in that neighborhood. Hope you can join me at that on May 19. Another project arriving just in time for summer is the fitness court at Rotary Park in the southeast side of the city. This one I'm really looking forward to because of how important I feel fitness is to the health and well-being of our community. Construction is expected to start early next month, so I'll be able to hold a pull-up competition with the first gentleman in June when the project is done. You down for that? Okay. It will be a great addition to this park along our beautiful bike trail. I would be remiss if we're talking about fitness, I didn't put a plug in for the kickoff of my annual 100 miles, 100 days challenge. If you join me this Saturday at 9 a.m. at the Levitt in downtown, we'll kick that off. I hope to see many of you there for that. We have some of the best parks in the region throughout the city. Some parts of those parks, though, they aren't used as often as they could be. It's how this next idea came to be. We're excited to announce we're moving forward to get mini pitches in Sioux Falls. A mini pitch is a small soccer field with boundaries that help keep the ball in play. This creates small, fast-paced games. We're planning the first mini pitch to be installed just north of Terrace Park swimming pool on top of an existing tennis court that's being underutilized. We're looking for partners to collaborate to build these mini pitch systems throughout our communities and neighborhoods. The mini pitches will be useful for leaders in the community like Leo Diaz. Leo's been an advocate for neighborhood investments for kids and families to provide easy access to positive and active gathering spaces. Leo moved to Sioux Falls to play on a partial soccer scholarship at the University of Sioux Falls in 2006. At the time, he wanted to pursue a career as a professional soccer player. And his way of doing that was through an educational scholarship. Post-secondary school was not talked about often in Leo's family, but the people he met while he was in Sioux Falls opened his eyes to opportunities and a place of belonging that he didn't know existed. Soccer brought him to Sioux Falls, but he says the leaders and the opportunities, that's what keeps him here. Leo knew there were kids just like him who didn't know the opportunities waiting for them. So he started mentoring kids in school and turned that into Atlas Academy in 2019. He teaches hundreds of kids between the ages of 5 and 13 character and leadership through the sport of soccer. Leo found out he was someone they could trust because he came from the same background and struggles that they've experienced. To watch him succeed is inspiring. He's a trusted leader to the kids and their families. It's vital we continue to reach kids at all ages and backgrounds to help them understand what opportunities are available to them. We're not defined by our personal experiences and backgrounds, and it's important that we as a community, that we help kids realize just how big they can dream. What Leo is doing is helping these families thrive in Sioux Falls physically, mentally, and socially. Leo is here with us today, so please join me in recognizing him for his efforts to help the next generation and continue to build culture within our community. Leo, can you stand up? There's so much great work happening in our community for kids and families because of what we call our One Sioux Falls efforts. It's critical we prioritize quality of life investments because that's what sets a community apart and brings residents together. A large investment I'm excited to announce this morning is for the Great Plains Zoo. There's a lot of momentum building at the zoo since the announcement that the Butterfly House and Aquarium would merge with the zoo by 2026. This collaboration will just create a stronger organization that will live on one campus for the community to enjoy. Later this year, a one-of-a-kind splash pad will start being built on the zoo's campus and will hopefully be open by May of next year. This water area will be privately funded and is a great addition for families. The collaboration of public-private partnerships is what makes this community so special. You're hearing the word collaboration a lot today. It's because collaboration is what built Sioux Falls and continues to move Sioux Falls forward. These public-private collaborations continue to attract people from all corners of the country to our city, and it's why we continue to grow year after year. Recently, we went through an extensive process to gather community input on the future of Sioux Falls aquatics. In Sioux Falls, we love our pools. The pools at Frank Olson and Keene Park are near or over 50 years old and are ready for a new vision, as is the wading pool at McKinnon Park. At the beginning, many in the community expressed that they wanted a new outdoor pool in their neighborhood because that's what they had previously. As our Parks and Recreation team started dreaming, they began to realize they could think outside the box and looked at what could be. They looked at this pool as a community gathering hub, a mix of indoor and outdoor recreation areas, maybe with a library storefront, maybe with a fitness area. Their mindset evolved because of the collaboration that occurred between the city, the neighbors, and the ideas sparked by the survey. Right now, our Parks and Recreation team is looking for design consultants to game out a master plan for each of these sites. The situation is still fluid on when construction will start because, as it is with all city projects, it will come down to funding and what we can realistically build with what we have. Ultimately, this is your quality of life bond, Sioux Falls, and we're looking forward to seeing it come to life. The activation and investment into our community's core has led to a transformation and evolution of not only our skyline, but the fabric of our culture. Downtown represents not only our history, the story of our community's origins, but also the spirit of partnership and collaboration that residents and business owners of this community have demonstrated in achieving what can often seem like insurmountable feats. In the past 5 years alone, we have seen historic private and public investments downtown. These investments create momentum that is experienced throughout the region. Continued investment into the community's core is strategic and critical to enhancing the quality of life in Sioux Falls. Recent investments, including several we're excited to highlight today, would not be possible without philanthropic gifts from community leaders. The first is specific to the third phase of the Downtown River Greenway project. We are honored to announce that the Craig and Pat Lloyd family will be making a gift to see this project completed. In 2022, Lloyd Companies celebrated its 50th anniversary, and upon reflection, many of those years have been spent downtown, taking risks when it was difficult to do so. They saw the opportunities to support a vision for Sioux Falls that it did not yet see itself. Today, their tenacity and community leadership transform the downtown skyline through development at their signature project, the Steel District. Thank you, Craig, Pat, and family, for your philanthropic leadership and service to Sioux Falls. Please join me in thanking that family. The collaboration and coordination required to complete construction of both private and public improvements at the Steel District, the third phase of the Downtown River Greenway, and Unity Bridge simultaneously requires a great deal of communication and trust. Limiting disruptions for our private sector partners is key for our team as we look forward to bidding this project this summer and beginning construction shortly after. With $500 million of private investment between the Steel District and Sharapa developments, it's important to recognize the responsibility of the public sector to maintaining funding commitments, which we have done with our recent difficult but critical investment into Unity Bridge, and will be doing so with our investment into the River Greenway. Shortly after the bidding opens for the River Greenway, our team will request bids for JACOBSON PLAZA. The signature experience that will be created through this public-private investment will strengthen and reinvigorate our community's access to family-friendly activities downtown. A refrigerated ice skating ribbon, a playground for all abilities, and a modern splash pad are the primary features of this incredible destination. Private donors Gary and Diane Jacobson have led this initiative, providing the city with a multi-million-dollar gift that not only sparked the conversation to move the project forward, but also transforming it into a regional destination accessible to all. I know the Jacobsons are here today. Please join me in thanking them. I would be remiss if I did not also take a moment to recognize the incredible gift being made by the Dick and Kathy Sweetman family to the Washington Pavilion. Their multi-million-dollar gift will be used to create a state-of-the-art planetarium at the pavilion that is unlike anything you will see in this region, particularly for a community our size. In fact, the nearest facilities featuring this level of technology are in Chicago and Denver. But Sioux Falls is uniquely aspirational, and we stretch ourselves, not just to imagine the opportunities, but we also have the courage and commitment to make things happen. The Sweetmans are once again an example of the philanthropic spirit and visionary leadership that exists in Sioux Falls. We are so grateful they and so many others choose to invest into this great community we call home. Please join me in thanking the Sweetman family for that gift. Now, I've realized we've talked about some of these projects for a couple years, and we don't want to start sounding like fans of the Vikings and that next year is our year. But the economic and supply chain landscape has caused us to have to be very deliberate because we want to do it right and not just quickly. We want to make sure we're maximizing the potential of these projects. We've been working through the economic uncertainty to ensure we've done it right the past 12 to 18 months. And we as a city are ready to make these quality of life investments. The time is now with the opportunities we have in front of us. Many of you may not know this, but the city has a vision statement that we are, quote, taking care of today for a better tomorrow. That's our vision statement. We live that out every day, and that's why we may never even take part in some of these projects, but we know the next generation will. We can't focus on kids and families without recognizing the need to invest in the safety and health of our community. We're making the appropriate investments to make sure Sioux Falls continues to be a safe place for residents to thrive. This includes the 42-acre public safety campus on the northeast side of Sioux Falls. This will be one of the largest and most robust facilities of its kind in the Midwest for our first responders. It will help our Sioux Falls police officers and firefighters elevate their training and skills, and will also be home to a new state-of-the-art 911 dispatch center. We're looking forward to hosting you all at the ribbon cutting this fall to establish Sioux Falls as the leader of training in the region. Last year, I spearheaded a group called Safe South Dakota. It includes individuals from various law enforcement agencies across the state, the Department of Corrections, the Governor's Office, local elected officials, and individuals from the judicial system. It seems like such a no-brainer to talk to other counterparts across the state, to work through some of the same issues we're all experiencing and to find solutions. But to my knowledge, this is the first time these conversations are being had, and we're already seeing it make a difference. Senate Bill 146, which is also known as the Truth in Sentencing Bill, is an example of this collaboration. This legislation targets violent offenders in our communities. It removes the opportunity of early parole for certain violent crimes and requires others to serve most of their time the judge gave them during sentencing. This bill came about because many of the violent crimes, nearly all the violent crimes we are seeing in our community are being committed by parolees who are released too early. I would like to recognize several folks who worked tirelessly to get this bill passed through the legislature. People like Sheriff Mike Milstead, Minnehaha County State's Attorney Daniel Hager, Sioux Falls Police Chief John Toome, and Senator Brent Hoffman and Representative Sue Peterson, who shepherded this through the legislature. Would you folks stand if you're here and be recognized for your work on that legislation? They gave testimony in Pierre. They made countless phone calls to legislators, and they worked to move this bill forward this past session. It will create an even safer community for us in Sioux Falls, for our counterparts in Rapid City, and those across the entire state. And I also want to thank Governor Noem for signing this bill into law, which will be effective July 1 of this year. But as we celebrate the passing of this law, it's short-lived, because this is only one piece of the puzzle. Unfortunately, the data shows that almost 70% of individuals who leave jail or prison, they're rearrested within 3 years. And that number rises to 80% after 6 years. The cycle of recidivism needs to change. Focusing on the success of these individuals is so important. That's actually a topic I'm personally quite passionate about. Take a look at these stack of letters, dozens of letters. These are from inmates at the state penitentiary to me, who I communicate with on a regular basis. I've gotten to know these guys over the past couple years because they're working on getting a program going for others in the prison that will give their fellow inmates the tools to be successful for when they're someday released. I'm proud to be working with them on this, and my administration will continue partnering with the Department of Corrections, public safety partners, and local educational institutions to ensure that rehabilitation and programming remain part of this important discussion. We tackle issues head-on in this community. We're innovative problem solvers, and one of the latest examples of this is something we're excited to debut, but can't share too much of it right now. That's a cliffhanger, right? What I can say is that several organizations have come together to help address food insecurity in our community, and they're bringing a solution to the neighborhoods. We'll have more on this collaborative effort at our One Sioux Falls media briefing on Wednesday, April 26. We also look forward to build on the recent expansion of Fair Market on Kiwanis Avenue, which is bringing low-cost groceries to neighborhoods that lost a marquee grocery store. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Councilor Rich McCouris, who played a key role in making that happen. Rich, thanks for your leadership on that project. One individual whose name is synonymous with innovation is someone you heard from this morning, Lynn Keller-Forbes. Lynn's the executive director of the Southeastern Development Foundation. Much of the work Lynn does helps chip away at the housing crunch in our city. Her organization has relocated, renovated, and sold over 15 homes in Sioux Falls for all income levels. In 2020, the Southeastern Development Foundation purchased the former site of the Boys and Girls Club at 13th and Sneeve and repurposed the land for housing. Lynn doesn't bring in local contractors to start brand new. She moves houses from other areas of Sioux Falls and renovates them to current trends and standards. The city donated 6 homes that we bought from the Rose Lotta neighborhood off Minnesota Avenue to Lynn's organization to use in this cul-de-sac. She also mixes in the use of governor's homes, which are meant to be more affordably priced for those with a low to moderate income. 16 of the lots from this project have finished homes and have been sold for as low as $186,000. Her goal is to finish and sell the final 8 homes in that area by the end of 2023. Since 2018, the city has invested almost $28 million just to address affordable housing in our community. Please join me in thanking Lynn for the work she's doing for accessible housing, conversion, and sustainability through her work with the Southeastern Development Foundation. The city of Sioux Falls has been a leader in conversations around sustainability, and we're proud of the work we've achieved so far, especially the water quality investments made into the Big Sioux River. Over the past 15 years, we've spent roughly $10.5 million on what the EPA calls non-point source projects. Basically, they're projects that protect bodies of water. Part of that money is used to work with 8 partner organizations to compensate farmers to stabilize easements surrounding Big Sioux on their land from Esteline all the way down to North Sioux City. This protects 90 miles of the river in hopes to restore it to its natural state. This is just one of the many examples that spotlights the smart, pragmatic, sustainable improvements for our community's next generation. In South Dakota, we care about protecting our open land and preserving the natural beauty found here. In some instances, these open spaces have been conserved and passed on for generations. We will continue to emphasize these important investments and do our part to further conservation efforts in our community. During my time as mayor, I put an emphasis on investing in our roads and streets. And yes, I understand this winter has been rough and we have a lot of potholes. The good news is the hot mix asphalt plant opens soon, which patches the holes much more securely than the cold mix we have to use during the winter. The opening of the hot mix plant signals warmer weather, which means orange cone season is here in Sioux Falls. We're entering year 2 of 3 of construction on the first diverging diamond in the city at 41st and I-29. Some of the most visible work will be done this year, with a final completion date sometime next spring. We're grateful for partners like the South Dakota Department of Transportation and our congressional delegation who helped secure the funding for this project. Construction on the second diverging diamond in Sioux Falls started recently at I-229 and Benson Road. This is an estimated 2-year project that we couldn't do without the help, again, of our great partners at the DOT. Sioux Falls is growing to a point where we can't continue to think just about our city. We have to start shifting our mindset to a more regionalized view. We have to make smart decisions now and include our neighbors along the way that will make a positive impact for the future. This includes the connections of our roads and highways, and that's why the construction of South Veterans Parkway is so important. This project is in partnership with the South Dakota Department of Transportation as well, and when it's done, will serve as a regional corridor for T, Harrisburg, Worthing, and Northwest Iowa. 8.5 miles of the 17-mile corridor are complete, and we expect construction on the southern section this summer. This year and next, crews will reconstruct the 2-mile segment between Western Avenue and Cliff Avenue. To the average person, these projects mean smoother roads ahead, which of course is great for our residents and for our visitors. But there's also a bigger picture here. It really means we're keeping up and getting ahead of our growth, creating and sustaining a workforce in our area, and even sparking development. A prime example of this is the interchange at I-29 and 85th Street and what that will do for our region, especially the connection it will make to our neighbors in T. We were only able to even start this project because of 7 different landowners in that area who stepped up with $4 million to fund environmental and design work needed to begin the process. This is unprecedented collaboration. Part of that money from landowners in the area paid for the necessary environmental assessment, which began in 2011. However, just last month, we received the final, what they call the FONSI, the Finding of No Significant Impact, from the Federal Highway Administration, which in essence signals that we have the green light to move this project forward, finally. The goal is to finish design work and bid the project late next year. The landowners allowed us to get this started, so it's our job as the City of Sioux Falls to continue working with the state, with Lincoln County, and with the City of T to finish it. This is the power of a public-private partnership between government agencies and developers. We're looking forward to seeing this transition from study phase to concrete on the ground. And the excitement of the development boom is already building at that area, with Orthopedic Institute purchasing land and creating a ripple effect of the interstate from other businesses in that area. You'll often hear me ask people to be a good neighbor. And I'm not just asking you to be such a good neighbor that you put in millions of dollars for a big construction project like you just heard. But I think we've learned this morning that being a good neighbor can really be something as small as holding a meeting with an agency across the state, believing in a child, or encouraging a family. It can be as simple as offering maybe 2 hours per month to serve as a mentor, part of our Sioux 52 mentorship initiative. One of our elementary schools in Sioux Falls has double the number of kids who need a mentor than the number of mentors available. I'm so passionate about mentoring because the success of our city really depends on the leaders that we're building today. One organization that focuses on this is Think 3D's Leaders of Tomorrow. Vani Harari and Tamian Dysart created this 12-week program to develop the next generation of leaders. Members grow their skills in communication, coaching, leadership, and personal accountability. Almost 500 people have graduated from this program, which has now expanded to specialty cohorts. Dawn Marie Johnson graduated in 2021 from the first all-teacher cohort. At the time, she was a teacher at Joe Foss, an alternative school for those who are referred if the regular school setting isn't built for them or they may be falling behind. Leaders of Tomorrow helped Dawn Marie in bringing new opportunities, job shadows, and scholarships to the school because of the connections she made. And last spring, Dawn Marie helped start a Leaders of Tomorrow program for the students at Joe Foss. They're connected to people like Police Chief John Toome, our school board president, and leaders in businesses of all sizes. I've personally been to this program at Joe Foss. I've seen it in action, and I've seen the impact it can have. We actually have some of the kids from Joe Foss here today. Would you guys want to stand up and be recognized? Another graduate of Leaders of Tomorrow I'd like to highlight is Caitlin Shriver. Caitlin has a criminal record and has served several years in the women's prison because of it. But she's not letting that define her life. She went through the Leaders of Tomorrow program where she gained valuable tools that have helped her grow into the positive, productive, and passionate leader she is today. She's now the Assistant General Manager of Oakview Hospitality right here at the Convention Center. She probably had a part in our breakfast this morning. She oversees a team of almost 200 people to manage the food and beverage for events held here, and also serves as an ambassador to those in drug court at various points in their sobriety journey. It's amazing to see her such a proactive member of the Sioux Falls community. Please join me in recognizing Dawn Marie, Caitlin, for their leadership and their positive commitments to our community. So just think about the ripple effect that some of these programs are having on individuals. They're helping people of all ages in our community realize their full potential. And the state of our city depends on the leaders we have in it. The decisions I make today, they won't matter tomorrow if the next generation doesn't feel like they have a place and a purpose in our city. That's why it's so important for us to talk to each other, to learn from each other, to connect with each other, to try to understand each other in a civil manner. At the end of the day, collaboration will help Sioux Falls remain the place where grandparents want to retire, where families want to raise their kids, and where all generations want to unite and thrive together. So thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to the year ahead and the fruitful work we have left to do in 2026. May God bless the city of Sioux Falls. Thank you, guys.